Hello, just a little update. I haven't been on doing reflexology in a long time. I haven't posted any videos. Just want to give a little update. As COVID hit, everyone kind of got a little squirrely and a little crazy, and um, mandates came into effect, and people had to get the choice to get vaccinated or not, or get vaccinated in order to keep their jobs. Um, Unfortunately, I was put in that position where I had to make the choice to keep my job, which I won't get into that too much because I'm currently in some discussions with a former employer and with an insurance company at this point. But I had to make the choice to keep my job and get vaccinated or quit my job, as I couldn't afford testing. So, anyways, the story is back in November, I made the choice to um, follow the workplace vaccine policy, and I took the Pfizer vaccine. I was fine, a little sore in the shoulder. The next day, I had a pretty normal day. I loaded a trailer. I live on an acreage, so loaded a truck and trailer, and I went and picked up a bobcat and some other equipment and an engine and loaded it and drove back. And then I worked on some shop doors for the day, building and cutting wood and different things like that. Pretty normal day. Cooked supper for my kids, and shortly after supper, my neck right in here between my collarbone here, the glands just swelled up, just like massive big swelling here. And shortly after that, within about half hour of that, I would say, all of a sudden it started traveling up, and I had like a tightness, and I had massive like numbness on my entire left side of my face. And while that was happening, I was thinking, well, this is really strange. So I phoned my pharmacist and I said, could this be from the vaccine? Could I be having some kind of weird reaction because my lymph nodes really swelled up and now I've got a numb face? And she said that she assumed I had Guillain-Barré syndrome. So I'm like, okay. And she told me I had to phone in and report it to our local public health agency, that I did have a vaccine reaction. And she said to probably follow up with the doctor. So I phoned the local public health information line to report it. And in the meantime, my entire left arm was going numb while I was talking with them. And while I was talking with them, they said, we don't think you're having a Guillain-Barré. We think you're having a stroke. By the time I got off the phone with them, my left leg was also completely numb. And they wanted me to go to the hospital. Now, I wasn't overly concerned because it still seemed like I could think fine. I could, like everything was okay. My left side was not cooperating. I could not use it. It was very numb. It was starting to get really heavy. Very strange sensation. Probably one of the weirdest of my life. Then, so I was thinking about it, and I talked to my oldest kid who's 13, and he said, no, yeah, you should probably go, Mom. So because I live way out in the middle of nowhere, ambulances take quite a while sometimes to get here. I decided to drive myself in. Probably not the smartest choice. I would not advise doing that. It wasn't smart. But I did drive in. I drove very slow in. It's about a half an hour drive normally, like doing 100 kilometers an hour. And by the time I got there, I could only drive like 40, 50 kilometers an hour. I could not drive very fast. I just wasn't feeling right. By the time I got to the hospital, I was thinking, oh, I feel not bad. Like, I should probably just go home. And, I had told my kids that I'd be home in like an hour or two. I told my oldest to watch my younger two kids. And at the time, they were 8 and 6. And anyhow, by the time I got to the local emergency department, I opened my truck door and I went to step out and I just about fell over. My left side completely just was not working. I managed to kind of limp my way in to the emergency desk, and by the time they registered me and I sat on a chair, the nurse came over to get me, and she practically had to carry me in because I just couldn't use my left side at all by this point. I couldn't even support my weight on it. It just was like wet spaghetti noodle on that side. So anyways, long story short, I was still in denial, thinking that I was fine, like it would probably be fine. They just, do some blood work and discharge me, I don't know, do an ECG. Turns out my blood pressure had spiked fairly high for me, Now, my blood pressure is usually very low, like 114 on 48 or 58, something like that. So I'm usually pretty low blood pressure. And it was up at the 165 over 80 range. So for me, it was quite high. So anyhow, they told me no, it was very serious and they needed to get me to the nearest stroke center. So they ambulanced me to the nearest stroke center. Meanwhile, sorry, it's a little hard to talk about that. I had to leave my children in the care of my oldest. Now, thankfully, I do have a brother living fairly close by, and he was able to come and watch the kids for me because that was the part that bugged me the worst. I still was kind of in denial that I really didn't need to be there, but I didn't know when I'd be coming home. And, sorry, this is very hard. I don't know. My husband works away. He is gone for 8 days at a time, and he works like about 5 hours away. So he was not home. He had just gone to shift a couple days before that. And so I had to phone him as well and tell him that he should probably come home. So the vaccine, COVID has really affected our lives. My children were, of course, very, very scared, not knowing what was going on, very nervous. I did not come home. I was in the hospital for 5 days. They took me for a CT angiogram, and they couldn't really find anything. But they still said that I appeared to be having a stroke. So I was given the blood clotting agent TPA to break up any clots that there might be that they hadn't noticed. I was not sent for an MRI at the time or anything. So I stayed in hospital for 5 days, getting the use back of my left side. They wanted to keep me in for 2 to 3 more weeks. Now, I have 3 young kids, and my husband works away, and he'd already had to miss out on 2 shifts or a shift of work. So, you know, there's no financial compensation for that. He's self-employed. So anyways, that's fine. And I pushed and pushed and said, no, I have to go home. I can't stay any longer. So I did physio. After 5 days, my husband picked me up. He stayed home the next work shift so that he could help look after the kids. And after that, he had to go back. So it was very tough. My kids were very distraught because they were very worried that they just about lost their mom. I still, to this day, we are in May. It is May 5th. I still cannot, I can walk here and there, and as long as I don't do anything the day before, I can go for a little walk. I can, you know, walk around to get the mail, you know, that kind of thing, and go into my kids' school. But stairs are very challenging. I can't tuck my kids in bed anymore at night because usually I'm too wore out. My stamina is very bad. Like I said, if I walk out to my chicken coop and back one day, I'm usually done for 2 or 3 days. I can't walk very far at all. I'm limping on the left side, gets very weak. The muscles are tight daily. I have to massage them all the time to stretch them out. I'm always having to stretch the left side. To this day, we're 6 months out. My left side is still very weak. It always feels heavy and numb. And the more tired my body is, that left side, my whole face still goes numb. But it gets worse as I get tired. My arm, my leg, same thing, numb all the time. So just numb and weak all the time. Now, at this point, I did see a stroke neurologist a couple months out, and I did have an MRI 2 months out, and they said that the MRI didn't really show anything. So they had no idea what happened to me. So I don't know if anyone else is in this position, but here I am. I still can't walk properly. I used to be the sole person that pretty much did everything around the acreage. You know, I tilled the gardens, I mow all the grass, I haul bales of straw for chickens, I plow snow. I mean, it's me. I used to do home rentals. I used to, you know, be able to just whip outside and throw a roof on a house or anything like that, and transplant trees. I'd like to do that this year. My 13-year-old's going to have to do it. My 9-year-old's going to have to do it. I just can't anymore. So yeah, if anyone else is going through that, hey, let's talk, because I don't know. The only thing that can explain it is the vaccine. So say what you want about, oh, it saves lives, the vaccine saves lives. I don't even want to hear that, because honestly, my children's mental stress is huge. It's through the roof now. It's really affected them. Their grades have suffered, their attitudes have suffered, all because of this. Now, we ended up having another tragedy in our house. 2 months after the fact, at the end of December, my husband actually got injured at work, which was very also traumatic for everybody in the house. He took one of those big 12-inch pigs for the oil patch into the face, and it broke his arm when he landed, and he had fractures all in his face. He's doing okay, but it's a long road for him too. But anyway, so this whole COVID vaccine stuff, it doesn't just affect the person that's injured, it affects everybody around them, their family, their spouse, their kids. And like I said, I am not even an ounce of what I used to be, and it's very frustrating. Reflexology, unfortunately, I'm unable to do that in the near future. Hopefully one day I'll get that back, but we're 6 months out, and I'm still struggling with that. So hopefully I'm still going through physio, and I'm still trying, so keep fighting. But yeah, don't tell me to get another vaccine. Bye.